Okay, I think we are going to be live here in a minute or two. I haven't been in the live mode for a while. It's been like one of those things where I had a little vacation and I'm like, I have no idea what day of the week it is. It's crazy. So it's good to be back briefly because I took some time off, but I had a bunch of content that was ready to go. So I worked twice as hard to get the week off. And then I am going to CES on Sunday. So I'm doing a wrap-up video on tomorrow, Saturday, and then I'm going to pack. And then I'm flying over to Las Vegas, and I'll be there through Thursday. I'm leaving like first thing in the morning Thursday and coming back here because I have a meeting to go to like right when I get back. So I'm taking Friday off also. So that's how we're going there. And it looks like all the regulars are stopping in to the YouTube chat. We're also now, hopefully, 2, 1. All right, we are live on Amazon as well. So I'm streaming here and on Amazon. And today's project is going to be a fun one. I think you all will enjoy this. What I'm going to be doing is taking this switch dock and retrofitting it to this. And this is one of these kits that you can buy on Amazon, and you can make your big switch dock portable with it. And the reason why I'm doing this is because from what I'm reading, most of the switch docks that are out there, the third-party docks, are not safe to use with your switch because they have some custom stuff going on with the USB-C on these, and it's possible to blow out the charging circuits on it. Which means you can't charge your switch anymore. So what this dock will do is actually take the guts out of the official dock and put it in this. And that is the game plan for today. So we're going to have a lot of these overhead views today as we do this project to get all this stuff taken apart here. So that is the game plan, folks. And you can watch here or you can watch on my Amazon streaming page as well. So we're in 2 different places. And I'm probably going to make a video out of this and see if it all works as a video too, because it might be kind of fun to do a little project video. Yeah, let me say hello to some folks, and then we'll kind of do the recording component. We'll get the first stage of the recording done. So that will consist of an unboxing here to see what it comes with. This is $14, by the way, so it's not that expensive. And yes, so let me go and see. Smoke Monster makes a good point, which I'll get to in a second. Let me say hello to everybody. So we have Samir, 27. We have Christopher Dale, Dr. Phoebe Rises, DJ Leho, Smoke Monster is here, Kirill Larson, Eric E. I think I said DJ Leho already, but there you are again. Radresh is here, William Wilkinson, Nathan Martin, Rich Wilson. All the regulars are here. 46 of you so far, plus whoever's on Amazon. So this is good stuff. And Smoke Monster says, I like how you say we because I feel like I'm helping out. And actually, it's true. Doing these live streams for the last couple of weeks have been really helpful because I do get a lot of good feedback as I'm recording these videos, which actually makes the content better. So it is definitely a team effort. We're going to move the Xbox controller out of the way here because that is not what we're doing today. So in case you're just tuning in, the project today is going to be taking this dock and putting it in this new do-it-yourself thing. That's the plan. So that's what we got there. I have Habib Montoya is here. DK Savage, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Drew Prater is here. Ronaldo Fergarato is here, or Ferragato, I believe. And we're going to get going. So yeah, it's New Year. So this is so I'm home for like 2 days, and then I'm back on the road again. So I went to Florida for a couple days and warmed up a bit. It was very nice. I got bit by bugs. I'm like itching because the bugs got me. I think I got one on the forehead here too. But it was fun. It was good to get down there. So, and I'm back, and then I'm home tomorrow, and then I'm leaving Sunday morning for Vegas for CES, and we'll be there for 4 days. All right, so I'm going to start off a recording here. Oh, Dr. Phoebe's Rises. Dr. Phoebes, got it. I've been pronouncing your name wrong all along, and I apologize. Dr. Phoebe's Rises, or Fibs or Phoebes? Give me the pronunciation, that'll help. And McCurley makes also, Chris Patacchio is here, and Matt Green is here, and the Rabbit Slayer is here too. And McCurley makes a good point about the cost of the docks. It was funny because as I was starting the stream, I was looking around, and the new ones now are selling for $180. Isn't that crazy? So I have two docks. I bought two because I have two TVs that we play the Switch on. And you're going to hear me repeat this when I do the recording. So this is kind of like my spare dock. So we're going to use this one as the guinea pig for this. And what motivated me to get the dock is that my oldest daughter and I have been playing a lot of Nintendo Switch games. We played through Luigi's Mansion together, and she's really enjoying Super Smash Brothers and what's the other one that we're playing? Mario Kart. So we wanted to play when we were on the road, and you know, we've been now on 2 trips together, and we haven't had a dock that was portable. This thing's, yeah, it's not unportable, but when you're bringing a bunch of other gadgets with you, it's hard to make room for this. And it's not brittle, but if you look at it, I mean, it could very easily crack, just given the fact that you've got this big open space here. If you had pressure on it in a suitcase or something, it could fall apart. And I've been really reluctant to get a third-party dock because of all the issues people are having with them. So the plan here is that we're going to take this and put it in here and see if this is a good solution. So we're able to have the safety of a true Nintendo motherboard and power supply in a just portable case here. That's the plan. So let me answer a few more questions, then we're going to get started and get this show on the road. I think I said hello to Chris Patacchio. Patrick Chang, hello, welcome. Rich Wilson is here. Matt Green, he says, Rich says, I'm working on a Paradox. Yes, Paradox, that's very good. Very, very good. It took me a while to get that one. Matt Green wants to know how I am simulcasting. So what I'm doing on my TriCaster is just sending out the stream to 2 different places. So my TriCaster allows me to do that. In fact, I could send, if I had the bandwidth, I could do as many as I could send out to. But right now I'm just doing the 2. I did try Twitch the other day. That worked until something started uploading, and then the whole thing fell apart. So I'm really reluctant to go more than 2 right now. But I might do one of those aggregators out there. So that's how we're doing it. AA winner Michael Kane is here. Retro Junkie is here. Z Napo is here. All right, let's get moving here. I think I'm going to just bump up the lighting a little bit just because these things are kind of dark. So let me just get a little bit more light on these guys here. I think I might just do a camera exposure on this, and then we'll get started. See, the problem is when I unbox this, it's going to be white, so I'm just going to turn it down just a tad. The one thing with my studio cameras is that they are not very good at dynamic range. So when you have like a super white thing and something black, it just doesn't do very well. All right, so we're going to get this done. As Dwayne Stanley says, make it happen for my baby girl. That's right. We want to play some Nintendo Switch when we're on the road. And not on this time. What we've been doing is we've been using the kickstand. That's how we did it all week. We had the kickstand and we're kind of hunched over it. So we want to get this stuff on the TV. So let me start my intro here, and then we'll get to work on this thing. 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we're doing a fun little project today because I wanted to get a more portable Switch dock for my Nintendo Switch. My oldest daughter and I have been playing a few Switch games together. We finished Luigi's Mansion, and we've been playing Super Smash Brothers and Mario Kart, and we wanted a way to play the Switch on a TV when we travel, and there really wasn't a solution out there for a portable Switch dock that I was comfortable using. And the reason is that a lot of the third-party docks are kind of risky because of the unique way in which Nintendo implemented USB-C charging on the Nintendo Switch. I'm not sure if they've rectified some of these issues in the latest revision of the Switch, but I have an old one, the original, and I'm very concerned about breaking it, and I wanted to find a solution that would really work, yet be portable. And I came across this thing. This is a little Switch do-it-yourself kit, and this is called the Bass Top Portable Dock. And it's, for some reason, has a different brand on it when it arrived. This is about $14, and what it is a kit where you take all the guts out of the official dock and put it in this smaller case, and that will get you essentially an official Switch dock that's portable because you're using the original circuit boards here and the Nintendo power adapter, just putting it into a different shell. So in the interest of full disclosure, I paid for this with my own funds. All of the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Nobody is paying for this video, nor is anyone reviewing it or approving it, before it gets uploaded. So let's get to it now. We're going to start with the unboxing, and then we'll get to work on taking this dock apart and putting all of its guts in the portable thing. Let's get to it. All right, that could work, I think. So that's our recording. So we're going to make a video out of this. So what you're watching, you'll see again in edited form. And we'll probably do a speed up as I'm wrenching on everything here. I was just watching a lazy game review thing where he was transferring one computer to another, or a computer out of his existing case to another, and it was kind of fun to watch that fast motion thing. Nintendo Switch dock intro. I'm just going to play this back real quick. I was actually able to talk for 1 minute and 44 seconds without screwing up, so that was good. So let's play this back real quick, everybody, and we'll see how this came out. And if you're on Amazon,
hey everybody, it's Lon.TV,
and we're doing a fun little project today because I wanted to get a more portable Switch dock for my Nintendo Switch. My oldest daughter and I have been playing a few Switch games together. We finished Luigi's Mansion, and we've been playing Super Smash Brothers and Mario Kart, and we wanted a way to play the Switch on a TV when we travel. And there really wasn't a solution out there for a portable Switch dock that I was comfortable using. And the reason is that a lot of the third-party docks are kind of risky because of the unique way in which Nintendo implemented USB-C charging on the Nintendo Switch. I'm not sure if they've rectified some of these issues in the latest revision of the Switch, but I have an old one, the original, and I'm very concerned about breaking it. And I wanted to find a solution that would really work, yet be portable. And I came across this thing. This is a little Switch do-it-yourself kit. And this is called the Bass Top Portable Dock. And it's, for some reason, has a different brand on it when it arrived. This is about $14. And what it is a kit where you take all the guts out of the official dock and put it in this smaller case. And that will get you essentially an official Switch dock that's portable because you're using the original circuit boards here and the Nintendo power adapter, just putting it into a different shell. So in the interest of full disclosure, I paid for this with my own funds. All of the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Nobody is paying for this video, nor is anyone reviewing it or approving it before it gets uploaded. So let's get to it now. We're going to start with the unboxing, and then we'll get to work on taking this dock apart and putting all of its guts in the portable thing. Let's get to it. All right, I can live with that. And we got a couple other people that popped in here. So DT is joining us. Who else do we have here? DT has more bug bites. I'd rather have you'd rather have bug bites than deal with snow and ice. I would agree with you on that. Yes, there is a Kickstarter dock out there called the Covert dock. In fact, I found that as I was researching things, but it wasn't yet available. That one looks interesting. But again, you have to take their word for it that they're doing this right from the power standpoint. So you hope that they did get it right, but you never know, right? So like this one I know will work because it's the Nintendo guts. But yeah, I'm actually going to order that one when I come across it. I think I can order on Indiegogo. I might just do that. Matt Green likes how I can record and stream at the same time. Actually, you can record and stream at the same time with OBS. It'll do very much the same thing. OBS is really powerful now if you have the right computer hardware, but it's not. Doesn't need like anything super powerful from the standpoint of cost, so that could work. John Rodriguez is from Connecticut as well. Welcome, you're not too far away from me. Yeah, Kevin makes the point that the Covert dock and the ChargeN Pro Stingray have the potential to be great third-party docks. I have a feeling that Nintendo is going to do something on their own with this because you can't buy these right now, really. I mean, I looked on Amazon, there's just like some $140 thing being sold and a bunch of used ones. So I have a feeling Nintendo is like putting a rev into this and coming up with something different. So we'll have to see what they've got in mind because I think it would be great to have something portable. And I think if Nintendo's seeing all the interest around a portable dock, there's no question they're going to just drop one because they have the retail capacity there. Professor Mike is here. Play Nintendo Box is here. Yeah, it's my original Genesis. That one behind me I got in 1989 when I was 13. Right? Yeah, that was when I got it. See, and it still works. I just have it up there on the shelf. I have FPGAs now to do my Genesis, as Smoke Monster has been so helpful in getting that community going. Let's see what else we got. Dustin wants to know, does it have a wall mount? I don't believe so, but you could probably make one. Alejandro from Mexico, welcome. Bryant is wondering why hasn't Nintendo licensed its power dock spec? I have a feeling that they did something. What we're seeing with USB-C is that around the time Nintendo was developing the Switch, there was a lot of companies not all properly implementing USB-C. We're still seeing this occasionally. What was the most recent one? There was something that came out. I can't remember what it was. It was like a big name product too. What was it? It was a phone or it was something that people were really excited about. And whatever it was, they didn't implement USB-C properly on the cable. So if you plugged in, for example, an Apple charging cable into this device, it didn't work. And I can't remember what it was. I did review it. I'm sure one of you will remind me. So I think it was less of an official thing, but more of the way they chose to implement it. Handquake, any chance of a meetup? I might do that. I'll put something out on the community post when I'm out there. We're going to be super busy when we get there, but I think we might be able to, like maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, do some kind of meetup somewhere. So I will put something out on there and see what we can get going. All right. And Professor Mike wants to know, is there going to be a potential of a Switch Lite TV out adapter? I would bet you they removed the physical motherboard thing because they would be totally cannibalizing the regular Switch, which sells for more money and presumably is more profitable. So yeah, I doubt that, but who knows? I mean, maybe there's some way you could figure. I bet you if you soldered your way into it, you could probably figure that out. All right, so we're going to do now the unboxing component of the video. And then we'll go in and get the job done here, as they say. 3, 2, 1. All right, so let's open the box up and see what is inside. This is available in a couple of different colors. I got mine in white just for the heck of it. But again, you can get it in, I think, 4 different colors. It feels okay, not the best quality, but this is it. It's just a piece of plastic that's just been molded properly to fit all of the components. What I am not seeing, though, is an instruction guide. So we may have to go look this up on the internet just to be safe about this, but perhaps it might be self-explanatory given the location of ports and all that. But you would hope that maybe they would give you an instruction book, but they don't seem to do that. But you do have a bunch of screwdrivers, and these should all fit the size of the screws you will be encountering, and they included some screws for screwing down the motherboard. And it looks like they've got some rubber feet here for the bottom of the dock. So that is all you get. And the lack of instructions is a bit concerning, but we're gonna soldier through this. Let's see if we can do it without instructions. So the next step is we're going to get our Switch dock out on the table and start the surgery here and extract its components and put them in here. Wish me luck. All right. I can't believe they don't have instructions in this thing. That's crazy. So let's go look at that now. By the way, Smoke Monster says he wished he could switch himself on like me. You know, the reason why I'm doing the stream now is because I had to shoot some stuff for our sponsor for the show and for CES, and it took me an hour to do 30 seconds this morning, just to give you an idea, because I was pretty much just not working for the last week, and I've never gone that long in the last 2 years without doing some kind of, well, I guess I did a little bit of work, but I wasn't doing any on-camera work. So it's funny how quickly you lose your ability to speak cohesively. All right, let me just play this back real quick, make sure it works. I can't believe they don't have instructions in this thing. Isn't that crazy? Like, you would think they would give you a piece of paper. All right, so let's open the box up and see what is inside. This is available in a couple of different colors. I got mine in white just for the heck of it. But again, you can get it in, I think, 4 different colors. It feels okay, not the best quality, but this is it. It's just a piece of plastic that's just been molded properly to fit all of the components. What I am not seeing, though, is an instruction guide. So we may have to go look this up on the internet just to be safe about this, but perhaps it might be self-explanatory given the location of ports and all that. But you would hope that maybe they would give you an instruction book, but they don't seem to do that. But you do have a bunch of screwdrivers, and these should all fit the size of the screws you will be encountering, and they included some screws for screwing down the motherboard. And it looks like they've got some rubber feet here for the bottom of the dock. So that is all you get. And the lack of instructions is a bit concerning, but we're gonna soldier through this. Let's see if we can do it without instructions. So the next step is we're going to get our switch dock out on the table and start the surgery here and extract its components and put them in here. Wish me luck. All right, that works. And maybe we can go and find the, see, this is the problem with some of these things that you find on here, is that this brand is not the brand I bought. So maybe we'll do a Google search here for this Miriam. And while you're all here, you should definitely follow my friend Smoke Monster, who's in the chat, because I'm just looking up stuff here on the thing, because he is a big proponent of the FPGA revolution for retro gaming, and he just did I think like a 20-episode series on all the different cores for the Mister, which I've done a bunch of content on, but his are really good stuff. And if you haven't heard of the Mister, you should definitely check it out. You know, I'm just gonna roll with this. Let's just see. This might be kind of fun just to not have any instructions. So let me go to camera 4 here. And we're going to look straight down on this guy, or gal, whatever it is. And let's see what we got here. So I don't know what they want you to do with this thing. Let's see. Oh, this unscrews. Oh, it's like a little smaller screwdriver in here. You know, they give you a lot of extra screwdrivers. So now I'm worried there's going to be a lot of screws to undo. All right, so I'm going to leave some production instructions for Jake here. And I think I might want to increase the lighting on that camera. So let me get the exposure boosted here a little bit. Got a little bit of shadow there, but let me see if I can get some more light. That was the color temperature. I always get the wrong knob here. Yeah, that looks better. And we'll turn this guy up a little bit too. I think it looks pretty good. What do you all think? Does that look good to you? Oh, there's a QR code in the back of the box. See, this is why I like having you all watching with me, because we can get some info here. So let's scan that QR code real quick and see what it brings us here. So I'm just going to get my phone's camera out. By the way, if you have an iPhone, it now will detect this stuff. And there's a YouTube video on how to extract this thing. So let's take a look at that real quick. All right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to toss this over to my computer, and we can just kind of watch. It's only 2 minutes long, so we'll just kind of scrub through this real quick. So let me share this with my computer. I'm going to do an airdrop. Ready? Boom. I think I sent it to the wrong Mac. Oh, there it goes. Okay. All right. So if you want to see, let me put camera 3 up here, and we can all take a look at this together and see what this is going to take. I love how they did this like 4x3 style here. So let's see. Large screw. So what I'm actually most concerned about is this part. So it looks like they're unscrewing. What do they shoot this on? Like a VHS cam? Look at all the interlacing going on. This is crazy. Okay, so they take off that back panel, and then they have internal screws. This is actually smart that they're doing this, so they don't want you to repurpose those screws. Okay. And you're going to disconnect. Oh, I see. Okay, so then you're going to, oh no, not one of those. Oh boy. Let's see what they're going to do with that. Those ribbon cables always make me anxious. So they pull that out. And he's pulling that part out. And he's going to disconnect that. He pulls the whole thing through. Take out the Type-C connector. See, what I like about this is that they're taking all of the parts out. So there's nothing in here that's not Nintendo, right? And then you install the chip. Well, this looks like something I might be able to do. Large screw. Okay. And then you reconnect the USB-C connector. So far, so good, everybody, right? All right, and then what? And you put it in there. Okay. So I'm watching this and I'm wondering, maybe Smoke Monster is my electronics expert in the thing here. Is that bad to have that? I mean, I guess that cable's shielded, but is that going to introduce some kind of interference? Being that close there to the circuit board, which it's not by design typically. And that's it. Accomplish installation. I love the English on these things. Okay. So there you go. Okay, so there's everybody chatting. I'm just going to switch back to me for a second here. Okay, so let's go to camera 4. I love Smoke Monsters. Yeah, that's right. You only know until you test it. So we're gonna get working on this thing real quick. And what I think I'm going to do here is we'll start doing the screws, and then I'll have Jake in editing kind of speed this part up. And I think what I might do, though, is point out the fact that there is a QR code on the back of the box here. And I just want to check and see. I want to give the person who told me about that QR code credits. Let me see if I can find that now. Okay, there we go. So let me cut to this. All right. 3, 2, 1. Now, before we take things apart, there actually are instructions, not written instructions, but a video. And I want to thank, what's his name? Eric, okay. Eric Lucas. 3, 2, 1. Now, one quick correction. There are instructions, just not in the box. There is a QR code here on the back. This will point you at a YouTube video that you can use as a guide for taking apart the dock and assembling the new one. And I want to thank a viewer, Irvin Lucas, who saw that during the live stream we've been doing as we're doing this installation for finding that. So there is some instructions, but nothing written. So if you are a visual learner, this is going to be helpful. If not, you're going to have to struggle through things as I'm going to struggle through. So what we're going to do now is just go to my overhead view, and we're going to begin unscrewing the Nintendo dock. There are 2 parts that we have to get out of here. One is the motherboard for the main components, but there's also a USB Type-C connector as well. So I'm going to take these screws out, and while I do this, we'll speed up the video, and then we'll come back when we're done. All right, so I'm just going to just record and unscrew stuff here as we go. This doesn't feel all that difficult. These screws are coming out real easy on this, so that's a good sign. What I'll probably do is just put all this stuff in a bag. Because the nice thing is this is not necessarily a permanent thing. I mean, if you want to go back to the original dock, you can do that. And given what these things are selling for at the moment, that might be something you may want to do. All right, there we go. And these screwdrivers they give you are magnetic, so that helps get these screws out of it. There it goes. And I forgot to bring over my magnetic screwdriver thing, but we'll deal with that later. I have a magnetic screw holder mat thing that I use when I'm working on stuff. All right. Okay, so I think maybe we'll cut to camera 2 Yeah, let's stay on 4. All right, so Jake, why don't you start right? Jake is my editor and assistant. That's why I'm calling for Jake. I don't think he's watching, but he will be watching when he sees the recording. All right, so 3, 2, 1. All right, so we got all the screws taken out. Let's take the first layer of the dock off. And now we can see the circuit board here and a ribbon cable. Now what we have to do with this is disconnect this from the USB-C connector. So before we pull this little circuit board out, we need to undo a few more screws here. So let's get to that, and then we will continue our project here. Now these screws are a little more firm. You know, I'll try to with a screwdriver. There it goes, a little bit easier with that one. Okay. All right. I may have to go back to that video and for a refresher. It's interesting, this is not screwed in here. All right, so you know what we're going to do? I'm going to stop recording here. And I'm just going to 3 screw driving. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is go back to that video because I just want to see how they got to that USB-C connector. Because I don't think they detached it here. They detached it at the connector. So I'm just going to go back to my history real quick and just watch that again one more time just so we can get a refresher. All right, so now, okay, so that was after. Oh, okay, so they just kind of wrestle that off to the side there. So let's we'll pick it up on 2 then. And I'm just going to leave that video in a tab in case we need to refer back to it. Yeah, you know, Hikuro-san says it's amazing how small the PC board is. It's like this little tiny thing, and you've got all this extra space. Yeah, it's an interesting design choice that they did this. Okay, see, this doesn't seem to be doing what it was doing in the video. So I wonder if there's another screw that I'm missing somewhere. Oh, I see. There's more screws. There's more screws hidden behind that there. So let's get those out. And I think, you know something? I think they make this look easier than it is because, let's see what he's doing here. All right, so he does those 2, which I did. And then he's got those 2 under there. And that one, okay. Huh, all right. See, I think there's more to this than, because I think I see some screws underneath the board. But it could just be, let's see if this comes out as easily as they say. So let me go back to camera 4. And I'm just going to leave some instructions for Jake to just jump cut this one over the last one. 3, 2, 1. Jake, just jump cut this one over the last one. Okay, so let's get the screwdriver in here. I don't like usually doing jump cuts, but every once in a while, if you're doing like a speed up montage kind of thing, it's all right. And loosen that one up. We'll just kind of get these guys loose here, and I think we should be able to do that, and then I'm just going to shake those out. Okay, those 3 came out. Yeah, see, okay. Yeah, they totally misled people on this because it's not coming apart that easily, because it's still screwed in on the other side. So you do have to pull this out. And this is where it gets complicated, because you're going to be really careful with that ribbon cable. Okay, and I'm just going to refer back to the video one more time, because I think they want you to disconnect the ribbon cable, at the USB connector. So I'm going to pick it up here. 3, 2, 1. Now I want to stop here for a second because there's one thing that I noticed in my experience here that does not mirror the instructional video, which is that there are 3 screws here to loosen up the main dock part so you can get at the USB-C connector. They only show them undoing 3 screws in the video, the instructional video, but there are more screws under the main board here on the right-hand side, so I have to undo those. And one thing I would strongly urge you to do is when you're buying this kit is to get a static discharge bracelet, because if you have static electricity built up and you touch these components, you could damage the motherboard on this dock, and you don't want to do that. At a minimum, you should try to ground yourself so that any static electricity you have on yourself is discharged before you touch the components. So what I'm going to do now is just get these last screws undone here, and then hopefully the dock will come apart and we can separate the USB-C connector and continue on our project here. Yeah, there's another one in there too. See, this is really not good. So you know what I think I'm going to do? Because I just don't like the way we're putting all this strain on the ribbon cable here as I'm trying to get at that screw. Here, I got it now. Not as easy as they say it is, folks. All right, there we go. Okay, so those 2 screws there. There's one pesky little critter in there that we still have to extract. Now it's coming apart. See that? Okay. All right, so I'm going to pick this up on camera 2. So let me do... Part 2, okay. And let's see if we've got any... Dave for Schmupp says he's thinking about getting A+ CompTIA certified. That's a good thing to do. It helps if you're looking to get IT work. It's a good certification to have. Now I can't remember if yeah, I think all these screws came out of the dock. If not, we'll we'll have to go back and look at the thing again. All right, so now. You know what's funny? This looks nothing like the video. I must have a different revision or something. But I think yeah, everyone's point there is well taken. I think I might disconnect the ribbon cable here. It can only go in one way, so I think what I'll do is just talk about, from an instructional standpoint, I don't like having to come back, oh, by the way, you should just do this instead, you know? But I think it would make sense in this instance. All right. Yeah, Shez, I do have one of those magnetic screw trays, but I just didn't grab it before I started. So, and actually in this instance, I'm just going to take these screws and throw them in the box here and just kind of store everything together. So 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm going to stop here and suggest that you do disconnect this ribbon cable here because you do have to get under this board, and I don't want you to put too much strain on the cable. So we'll be reassembling all of that later. So I'm just going to loosen it. Actually, how do you get that cable out without damaging it? Because that looks like, yeah, this is turning into a much more complicated project than I anticipated. I'm going to go back to that video real quick and just see. Yeah, I think I'll mark up the side of the cable too. Let's see, let's go into the I don't know like what, okay, so here, all right, so I'm going to put the motherboard back in place here. And then they are unscrewing, okay, there's 4 screws in the USB connector, so let's go do that real quick. I'm just really nervous about disconnecting this cable because I don't know if that thing flips up. Oh, it does, okay. All right, so let's pick it up from here, and we'll try to make sense of this in the edit. 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm going to stop here real quick because I don't like the pressure that is being put on this ribbon cable to get at the screws under the main board. So we're going to disconnect the main board here to be safe before we go at those screws. So what you're going to do here is just pull up this thing here and then lift the ribbon cable up from the board or pull it out. And that way you can more safely work with things without putting too much strain on the pins in there. And what you want to just make note of is that the blue portion here will be facing up when you're done with this. And now that I've got everything disconnected, I can more easily pull things apart and start working on the USB-C connector. So the USB-C connector is under 4 screws here, so we're going to take care of that in a second. The other thing I'm going to do is disconnect this, this LED light here as well. And that connects to the motherboard on the other side. So we're going to pull out that connector. And it only goes in one way, so it shouldn't be hard to get at that later. So let's just pull off that little connector there. Hopefully it'll come out easy. And then we can set the motherboard aside and continue the project here. So now that we are safely disconnected, we can pull everything apart, and I can more easily get at that USB-C connector there. So the big thing here is that they were in the instruction video not showing that there were more screws kind of under the motherboard here. So that's why, again, I think you should probably disconnect the ribbon cable from the motherboard before you try to pull things apart. And again, you can do that by lifting up the door here and then just gently pulling the cable out from the pins that are there. And we'll reassemble everything when we are done with the dock assembly. So now what we're going to do is begin the process of extricating our USB-C connector from this. So from the instructions, it looks like we need to unscrew this section here. So let's get to that. And this is certainly not difficult, but I think the problem here is that the video that they're pointing you at is not totally accurate yet here. So I think that's one area that we're going to need to be careful about. But let's get this thing loosened up here, and hopefully the rest of the process here will not be as difficult. And there are a lot of screws to this. Now, you're not doing anything necessarily permanent here. So if you want, you could put everything back together again if you really want to go back to the original dock. So I would set all these screws aside as well, just to be safe. All right, so we've now gotten the USB-C connector here extracted, and we've got 2 more screws to play with, these 2 here, that will then get it detached from the springs that this is loaded on. They do have a little bit of suspension in here so that if you drop the switch in, it kind of protects the connector. You're going to be losing that capability when you do the modification here with the new dock. And they have a little tiny screwdriver that comes in the kit that is for the USB-C connector. So let me get this going. And once I get everything disconnected, we'll come back and put the new dock together. Stay tuned. All right, so let me grab. Yeah, we'll figure out how to make this work in the edit. Because I'm not liking the continuity here, but we'll see. If not, it'll just be a live stream that we'll just put out there. So one thing Alexi Rivera is pointing out is that the big thing here is to make sure it is really the power adapter, not necessarily the dock. So that could be it. I have encountered things. There's a portable display we reviewed a little while ago from WinAxit that would work with the switch, but only if you use the original power adapter. In fact, it would not work with anything else. I can't get these screws out of here. Let me go check the instruction video again. All right, so they disconnect a USB-C. Here, I'll put this up for you all to see too. They disconnect a USB-C, and what's he doing with it after that? And he does go after those, doesn't he? Oh no, he disconnects the ribbon cable. And then see, I did it the other way, because if you didn't do, I would say it's probably best to just do it on both ends then, isn't it? So he gets it disconnected, and what does he do next? Pulls the motherboard out. He pulls that out, which we did. Take out the Type-C. Okay, so he does want to do that. All right. Well, that's not going to be any fun. So let us go back to the overhead here and just try to get that extracted. This is not working out as a recorded video the way I was hoping. Yeah, these screwdrivers are not good here. Because I think they're like worn down already. And I'm really nervous about stripping the screw here too. So we'll see where this goes. I got some folks that popped into the Amazon stream. We've got Crunchy Basil and Eduardo. Hello, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. And let's see if I can get this. Part of the problem is this is on, like, if I can get rid of this spring here, that might help things. But yeah, this is kind of a unique scenario here. Yes, that one's too big. And that one just keeps stripping on there. You know, I'm going to switch screwdrivers because none of these are working. And as Handquake says, you know, I think we're finding the limitations here of the included screwdrivers that they included. All right, so let me go get, ow, ooh, I just hit my head. That hurt. Oh, I'm going to get my screwdriver kit. Okay. So we got my screwdriver kit now. I bought this a while ago. This is this Oriya thing. Not a fantastic kit, but it was like on sale during one of the Amazon Prime Day things, so that one worked out pretty well. And just got to find the right size to fit with these screws. That one will do. All right, so all right, so let's see where I left off on the last clip here. Okay, ended up on me, I think. So I'll cut back to here. 3, 2, 1. So we got the USB-C connector here extracted from the old dock, or at least this part of it. Now the instructions call for unscrewing these two screws here, and unfortunately the included screwdrivers are not good enough to get those screws extracted. In fact, I'm very concerned about stripping the screws here because they don't quite fit, and because this thing is on a spring, it's hard to get a good grip on it with the screwdrivers they include with it. So I have my own screwdriver set here that I'm now bringing into the mix because I could not get these screws out with what they gave me. So I would add to your shopping list maybe one of these electronics kits that has a bunch of screwdrivers included, or at least a bunch of heads here for a screwdriver. And what I'll do in the video description is give you the kit that I'm using, which is not that expensive. But this is certainly turning out to be a little bit more difficult than they let on. But now we have the USB-C port extracted, we have the main board extracted, and now we can begin the process of putting things into the case. So let's get to that now. All right. So all of that work to get these two things out. And now I've got springs and screws and all sorts of stuff out here on the desk. But we perhaps have gone to the point of no return here as I pile up my dock. Let's throw this in here. And now I'm actually concerned about like how this is going to work in the edit. So I'm going to have, like I said, Jake's going to have to take a look at this and make sure we keep some decent continuity. Because my concern when I'm doing these things, if things aren't done perfectly, people might do the wrong thing, and I don't want that to happen. So we're going to be really careful about that. All right, and then this looks like it fits in like so. All right, so we're going to cut over to camera 2 here. Let's see where it goes. Looks like Alexi is also a tech person. Cool, I'll have to check out your channel too, Alexi. I'm always looking for more stuff to watch. I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch as much as I create, actually. So, all right, I'm just going to check the instructions here to see. Okay, so they have you do the motherboard first. And then they have you reconnect the connector, although we're going to reconnect it at the other end. And then you just put that thing in there and then screw it down, it looks like. Okay. All right, so the screws we need for the motherboard, it's actually funny, there's less screws on the completion here than on the opening salvo. Okay, so you put that in there, I'm just watching this, and then take the 3 upper screws with the large screw. Okay. Oh, that's easy enough. You know, this may not take all that much longer. But this is like super cheap plastic. They did not spend a lot on the molding here. Okay, so let's cut to 2, and we will kind of wrap this up, hopefully. And we'll see where it goes. Okay. Actually, about an hour into this already. 3, 2, 1. All right, so now we have the case. Let me start it with the motherboard in hand. 3, 2, 1. All right, so now we have our motherboard and our USB-C connector here extracted. The next step is to get everything put into the case here. And this part, hopefully, will not be as difficult. So let's go back to our overhead view. And it's easy to line this up because you can only put it in the right way in one direction. So what I've got here now is everything kind of aligned. Now what I'm noticing though is that the motherboard is sitting slightly below the case. So before I put this back together with the screws, I actually want to check and see if my HDMI cable is going to fit in this thing, because it looks like things are sitting below the waterline, if you will. Yeah, let's see what happens here. So I got it all reattached. And I've got an HDMI cable, I think, over here. You know, I'm going to go find that cable and start this take again. But I'm concerned about this because look at where the HDMI connector is. It kind of sits low. And it could be that when you screw it in, it gets into a better position. I don't think these screws align. No, it does. Okay. There's 3 screws. So there's 1, 2. All right, so this is another area of concern. They say there are 3 screws to lock it down with, but only 2 fit. Right? Am I crazy? I can't go any other way. So the video here, check out the video. Let me cut back to the video. I'm not yet feeling ripped off, but I'm getting there, folks. Let's see. So let's cut back to the video. Let me pull it up for you. Just to make sure I'm not crazy, right? So we took out the Type-C. Second step, install the chip. And I hit play. Sorry. Yeah, mine looks. Oh, so maybe it goes. They want it to go upside down, so it can't go in that way. Hang on a second. Let me go back to this again. Oh, unless they want you to attach it to the top part. Maybe that's what they want you to do. Yes. Okay, that's where I screwed up. Okay, my bad. So it actually attaches to the top part. See, this is how bad I am at this stuff. And that seems to align better. Okay, never mind, everybody. I'm not feeling ripped off anymore. But there are, okay, so there's 3 long screws and 1 short screw. How does that? Okay, so we got that in there. All right, so I'm just going to check and see what screws they recommend you use. All right, that makes me feel better. Okay, so I'm much better now. So let me go back to the video and see what screws they attach it with here. Okay, so tighten the 3 upper screws with, okay, through the large screws, and then you put the USB-C connector in. And we kind of did this in reverse, but it's okay, because we had to do it this way. Now it's reluctant to just detach the cable completely if I didn't have to, right? And they have you put that in there, and the small screw goes that way. Now what about the 2 on the back? Let's see. Oh, I see. It closes up with those other ones. Okay, got it. All right. It's a good thing they have instructions, folks. Okay, so let's do this now. And let me cut back to this part here. All right, so we're going to just align everything correctly. The USB goes that way. Let's see. You can all see how spatially deficient I am. Okay, there we go. All right, so tell you what, the switch better fit in this thing when we're done. I'll be very unhappy if it doesn't. Okay, so we finished up on me. And we'll go to camera 2 here. And then we'll come back to the other one. Okay. Oops. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we've got our motherboard extracted along with the USB-C connector, and now we're going to attach the motherboard to the new case here. What you want to do, though, is use the top part, not the bottom part, for this next step. So let's cut back to our overhead view, and we'll get this back down on the table. Now, the good news is with this is that you can only get it in one way. So what you want to do is kind of flip it upside down like so, and then, you know what, I'm going to have to do this again. Hang on a second. I'm so bad at this stuff. All right, so it goes this way. All right. I'm going to hold it like, I'll figure it out. So I just want to make sure I get this right on this next go around here. So the USB is on. Okay, so I'm just going to hold it like that, and that'll guide me back in. Okay. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we've got our motherboard extracted now, along with our USB-C connector. It's amazing that this is all there is to the Nintendo Switch dock, and you've got this huge plastic thing that it sits in. Now, to attach the motherboard, what we're going to do is flip up the top portion here. Let me get you my overhead view for a better view. And we're going to just get everything aligned. And there are 3 screws that we're going to put in now. And then there are 2 others that will secure when we get the rest of the case put together. So we're going to use our 3 long screws here on these 3 screw holes. So let's get that wired up now. And then we'll get the USB-C connector attached. And hopefully we'll be pretty much done with this project. Hang on. All right. Let's get this going here. I got to find the 3 long screws. What's interesting is that all the screws are long except the 3 that aren't. I got a feeling I'm going to have extra screws left after we're done with this, but we'll see. And I've got like other screws attaching themselves to my screwdriver. El Taco wants to know if the live streams stay archived. They do. They will be on Amazon on the link that's on the description. And they will also be on my YouTube channel. I have a live stream archive at Lon.TV/live streams that you can go to. And you can see all the live streams there archived. And by the way, this is why I don't have a maker channel, because even simple things like this cause me great angst. But it looks like the motherboard is aligning properly now. So it's that one and this one. And then I'm assuming the long screws are used for the, I think you're probably using the short ones there. Let's take a look in a second here. Okay, so let's put this thing back in here. Oops. Get that secured down. All right, and now we're going to reconnect our connector here. Now remember, this blue thing goes to the top, so, all right, Jake, you can pick it up from here. 3, 2, 1. All right, now the one thing that we did that was different than the instructional video was to detach the ribbon cable. Let me start again. Jake, pick it up from here. 3, 2, 1. Let me get all these screws out of the way here, too. So much excess crap. Losing that spring there. All right, Jake, pick it up from here. 3, 2, 1. Now, the one thing that we did differently than the instructional video was detach the USB-C connector from the motherboard and not the connector. So we're going to reconnect that connector now by putting that blue portion in there and then putting that door back down. That looks like it's in there pretty securely, so we're good to go there. And now we're going to guide the USB-C port into its little slot here. And let's see how easily this goes in. There it goes. And then we have to secure the ribbon cable this way, which is what the instructions said to do. And then we're going to screw in now the USB-C connector and then put the rest of the thing back together. All right, so I'm going to stop it here because I just want to check that instructional video again. And hopefully when this all comes together, the magic smoke doesn't come out. We've had that happen here on this channel. So Hussein Al-Safar says that the live stream is too late. Yeah, I'm sorry. You know, it's hard because, you know, everyone's on a different time zone. So about half the audience is outside my time zone. Actually, more than half. So I try to pop on at different odd times. So sometimes I'll pop on in my morning, which might be the evening for some or the afternoon for others. It's just hard to find a time that works for everybody. Now I think, let me check the video again. I have a feeling that they want you to use, they don't tell you, see this is the thing, they don't tell you everything in this video. So adjust small screw. Okay, so they want you to take the small screw from the, that was a language barrier issue. They want you to take the small screw that you used from the switch dock to put into this portion here. So I think what we'll do is we'll pick this up from on me, and then we'll put this thing back together here. Okay. All right. So yeah, so Alexi, it's 6 a.m. there, and for Hussein, it is 1 a.m. So yeah, it's hard because everybody's all around the world. It's so cool that everyone is around the world like this. So I do try to vary the time that I do this. So sometimes it might be too late, other times it might be on time. So we'll play with it and see what works. Looks like this is a good time though from a viewership standpoint. We have almost 200 watching now, which is pretty good. All right, 3, 2, 1. Now before we screw down the USB-C connector, you need to take the 2 screws that were on the original Nintendo dock and attach them here. So you have to, what they say, let me start again, 3, 2, 1. Now, 3, 2, 1. Now to screw down the USB-C connector, we actually have to take the screws that were holding it down on the Nintendo dock and apply them here. So all the other screws you're going to use on this project came with the dock, but these 2 screws will come from the Nintendo dock. And those are these tiny little screws that we had to get a different screwdriver out for. So I'm going to now attach that to my screwdriver here and get these installed. And then hopefully we should be able to put the whole thing together and then get our Nintendo Switch working with the original hardware in a much smaller form factor. So we'll get this screw screwed in here. And let me give you a different angle on this so you can see how this is looking here. So again, the same screws from the Nintendo dock, and again, I'm using a different screwdriver that won't strip them. And now we've got that in there, we can fold this down like this. This is what the instruction manual or the instructional video said you should do. So we've got that down like that, and now we're going to put the top of the case down on top of it. And then all we need to do now is just screw it all back together, and we should have ourselves a much smaller dock. So let me get this done, and we'll see if it all works. Oops. So it looks like they have some extra screws in the box here, hopefully. So it's for Nathan, it is 10:03 p.m. Here it is 5:03. And what I'll be doing after this is getting dinner ready for the family. I've eaten so much like stuff over the last week and a half that I am just going to have like some kind of, we have some chicken noodle soup we made a little while ago. We're just going to eat light tonight because I am just loaded and bleh. So I'm looking forward to CES because I'm so busy I don't have time to eat, and I usually lose a couple pounds just going to that show. I think I did like 15 miles on my Apple Watch. All right. Okay, so it's all put together. Not bad. So I'm guessing the power goes in here. And let's get these screws cleaned up. So let me finish the recording here, because the wife and kids will be home soon. They went to the library. We have a library down the street, and they have a kids thing where they do a craft and they read stories. So they're down at that. So I have time to do this. And then tomorrow I'm going to be getting ready for the trip. And Aaron is in Washington State, where it's 2:05 p.m. Hussein, I am in Connecticut in the United States, which is about 2 hours away from New York City and Boston. I'm kind of in between Boston and New York City. All right, so I'm going to let's call this screw driving part 4. Yeah, this video may not post until after CES. I need to look at it really closely, because this is one of those things where people will come to this video to see how to do this, and if this video is not plainly doing that or accomplishing that, it's going to cause bad things to happen. So, especially with these Nintendo docks costing as much as they do, if you screw up that ribbon cable, for example, that could be really devastating. I'm just going to put all these screws in this bag here. Hopefully we will not have to come back to the Nintendo dock again. It's amazing, like, just when you think about why, when I was wondering why these Nintendo docks cost so much, it's all of the assembly that goes, there's so many parts. You look at all the molding they had to do for this. So they have this part, they've got the door that flops down, you've got the spring-loaded suspension system, the light, all this stuff. It looks like this probably is hand-assembled at the factory. So I could see why this is costing as much as it is. And it could also be why we're not seeing them for sale right now. Maybe they've come up with a cheaper thing. Because if Nintendo were to make this, and they could make this, because look, it fits into this, they could dramatically bring their costs down. They could drop the price, but like, let's say they could sell this for $40. People would buy it, because the other one was 70, right? So they sell this thing for $40. They don't have to redesign any components. They have less labor. They'll probably make more money selling these docks for $40 than they do selling these more complex ones for 70. And I get it, it's kind of an elegant thing, but it makes you wonder, like, what's the thought process when they do this? And perhaps they wanted people to have the confidence that this was a TV thing, so you don't want to see the tablet screen staring at you when it's connected to the dock. I don't know. I just feel like there's been such a demand for a true Nintendo dock that I'm surprised they haven't made something sooner. All right, so now I got to find, here's my Nintendo power adapter. So we're going to pick up, let's see where we picked up, or we left off. We're on, okay, camera 4. All right, we'll pick back up on me. Actually, I'll go over here. I'm going to adjust the camera angle. Streets of Rage 4, Retro Junkie wants. See, I'm looking forward to that. I'll tell you what, I've got that Microsoft Games Pass now, and I don't know what to play. That's a problem, because I have so many games, and I had the whole week just to kind of tool around and play around with it, and I played like one thing. Now, granted, I was busy with the kids. We were going places, but why don't we do well, screw it. We'll just do a recording. We'll see how it looks. All right, so we're going to attach my HDMI cable here. Normally I have this thing routed through my video system, but for this we don't need to do that. All right, so we'll attach HDMI, and we'll attach Nintendo power adapter. Yeah, my only concern with this is that the only thing that could go wrong here is that if the ribbon cable got damaged during this process. But otherwise, we should be okay. All right, so it's connected here. Here is my switch, and let's pop this in. And voila, it works. Not bad. All right, so do I still have my I have my other one here. So let me just attach the Joy-Con here for a second. You know, I don't have my thing with me. Let me go Axis switch on this. I have my 8-bit-do controller. I love this 8-bit-do controller. Is my switch locked up? I believe it connected. Oh, no, it's not. It's different. It's, what is it? I think it's Y. Let's just get this connected real quick. It's looking for the light here. So this controller has multiple modes. This has turned out to be my favorite game controller in quite some time because it works with my Switch. It works with all the other stuff. My Mister, all my retro stuff works on this thing. It's a great controller. But sometimes it gets a little tricky to flip modes. Y and start, I think, is what we're doing here. And I think I may have to repair this. There it goes. All right. So let's pick a game that would be more Nintendo-ish. So I'll go over to one that I've got on the drive here. Yeah, let's just load up Smash Brothers Ultimate here. Well, the good news is it works, right? And there's no risk. See, now that the ribbon cable is connected properly, we're fine. I'm not seeing any HDMI interference, so that looks okay. So I think we're good. You know what I like about the SN30? It's funny. They took, it's such like a hybrid design of things that have worked in the past. So you've got the Super Nintendo layout. You've got the Sony analog stick kind of look to it. And then you've got the Sony PlayStation handles. And when you've got your phone attached to this, it is so well balanced. It's just great. And we have another person who joined us on Amazon, Sobriety. Hello, welcome, thank you for joining. You can watch me on Amazon or here on YouTube if you want. So I'm just going to start up a game here real quick. And if you're wondering what this thing is, I got this Hori Joy-Con replacement. This is like 20 bucks. And it's great because I play a lot of Tetris 99. I almost won a match the other night. I've been playing Tetris 99 for well over a year, as long as it's been out. And the D-pad is great. It's much better than the one that comes with it. All right, there we go. So we're good to go here. All right, so I'm going to pause this real quick. Let's take it out of the dock. And then we'll do the whole thing. All right, so let's do it. Let's pick it up from here. And I'm guessing we might want to try the USB. I think it's pretty clear that it's all going to work. So let's just run with the basic docking mechanism here. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, so everything is now reassembled. I've got my HDMI connected here. I have the official Nintendo adapter that came with my dock connected to the USB-C port. And now what we'll do is we'll take my Switch here, which is running Super Smash Brothers, and I'm just going to place it down on the dock here and connect it. The display will go dark, and here we go. It looks like we are good to go with a much smaller dock, but it has all of the original Nintendo guts, so I have peace of mind here, hopefully, of knowing that everything is official from the hardware standpoint, but we've gotten it into a much smaller form factor that I can travel with. One thing just to be careful about when you're putting all this stuff together is that ribbon cable that connects the USB-C port to the motherboard. Make sure those connections are good, that you've got everything well seated, because that's the one area where I could see something going wrong. But if you've got that well seated there, this is working just fine. And now I've got a dock that I can take with me, again, that has all of the original Nintendo guts in there. All right, so we're going to stop here. And then what we're going to do is get a closer shot of the dock here. My kids just got home, so we're going to have to be concluding very shortly. But I want to give some final thoughts on the overall impression here. I don't know if you can hear that. It's my 3-year-old in the garage behind me screaming. Let's see. She likes to project. She sings a lot, and when she's singing, she's like belting out tunes. It's so cute. She's in preschool right now. She's the loudest singer in class. She has to work on her tone, but she's getting there. All right, so this is first test. All right, so now what I'm going to do is kind of zoom in a little closer on the dock, just to have a little bit better of a shot there. And then I'll talk with you all for a little bit, and then we're going to have to call it quits so I can get dinner going for the family. All right. So let's pop this off. Wait for my camera to refocus here. And MacTX points out that the ribbon cables can be replaced pretty inexpensively. And I would agree. Yeah, my concern is just that you'd cross a wire. You do something that would bend pins or whatever. So, and Hussein's kids are up right now too. Wow, you guys are all up late. Yeah, my kids don't like to go to bed that early. That's part of something we're working on. Okay, Nigel says I seem proud. I do seem proud because when things work, when I'm doing some kind of fix-it routine here, it always makes me feel like, hey, we're in much better shape. So let me see where did I put the other docks? It might be kind of fun to show the size comparison. I can just kind of show let's put it back, kind of piece it back together. Yeah, you lose the LED light, but that's about the only big problem here. And if you want, you could try to put it back together again at some point. You know, it's an option. What I'm doing right now, I'm just putting the dock kind of back together here. Okay, there we go. All right. I just want to see where I ended the last clip. So I ended there. So we'll snap back on me. And I'm just going to play this back to make sure it worked okay. Hang on, folks. 3, 2, 1. All right, so everything is now reassembled. I've got my HDMI connected here. I have the official Nintendo adapter that came with my dock connected to the USB-C port. And now what we'll do is we'll take my Switch here, which is running Super Smash Bros., and I'm just going to place it down on the dock here and connect it. The display will go dark, and here we go. It looks like we are good to go with a much smaller dock, but it has all of the original Nintendo guts, so I have peace of mind here, hopefully, of knowing that everything is official from the hardware standpoint, but we've gotten it into a much smaller form factor that I can travel with. One thing just to be careful about when you're putting all this stuff together is that ribbon cable that connects the USB-C port to the motherboard. Make sure those connections are good, that you've got everything well seated, because that's the one area where I could see something going wrong. But if you've got that well seated there, this is working just fine. And now I've got a dock that I can take with me, again, that has all of the original Nintendo guts in there. Go from there. All right, one more. So we got 5 in Montreal, midnight in Greece, 2 p.m. in Vegas, where Handquake is located. We're all over the world here, international, watching me put something together. And thankfully, knock on wood, no smoke. and my switch still works. That's all good. All right, 3, 2, 1. So altogether, I think this was a fairly easy project to do. Again, my only deviation that I would recommend taking, I'm going to say the, not mine. Oops, just lost my thing here. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. So overall, this was not a hard project to do. The only deviation I took was detaching the ribbon cable from the motherboard, which was the opposite of what the video instructions suggested I do. The reason I did that is because there were screws underneath the motherboard that were hard to get to. But beyond that, it came together pretty much the way the instructional video said it would. And now I've gone from this to something much smaller that I can now travel with, but again, it has the original Nintendo guts, and of course all the ports here will work just like they did before, and now you've got something that fits into a smaller form factor. Now what's odd is that at the moment, at least at the time I'm recording this video, it's hard to find the original Switch dock as a standalone. If you buy a Switch, of course, you'll get a dock with it, but I'm having a hard time finding these at retail for any kind of reasonable price. So I suspect that Nintendo might be working on something to fill the tremendous demand, I think, for portable docks. So I'm sure we'll see something in the next couple of months. But if you can't wait and you've got an extra dock kicking around, this seems to be a really good solution here, minus all the dust on my screen, that will get you that docking functionality again in a travel-ready size and form factor. So that's going to do it here for this look at this DIY Switch docking kit. About $14 plus your original Switch dock, and you're good to go. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. I think that kind of works, right, folks? All right, so let me do, yeah, you know what I'll do, Handquake, about the meetup? Maybe I'll put out a survey and see who's interested. And if we can get enough people together, we can meet up somewhere and do a get-together. I had a one-person meetup when I was in Berlin. That was fun. This guy named Khan, who was on the last live stream, he popped in. It was great. Showed me all around Germany. We got some local fare. It was good. It was really, really fun. All right, so we're going to call this conclusion. I'm just going to play that back real quick and see if I'm happy with it. And then I've got about 10 minutes before I'm needed upstairs. So let me just play this real quick. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. So overall, this was not a hard project to do. The only deviation I took was detaching the ribbon cable from the motherboard, which was the opposite of what the video instructions suggested I do. The reason I did that is because there were screws underneath the motherboard that were hard to get to. But beyond that, it came together pretty much the way the instructional video said it would. And now I've gone from this to something much smaller that I can now travel with, but again, it has the original Nintendo guts, and of course all the ports here will work just like they did before, and now you've got something that fits into a smaller form factor. Now what's odd is that at the moment, at least at the time I'm recording this video, it's hard to find the original Switch dock as a standalone. If you buy a Switch, of course, you'll get a dock with it, but I'm having a hard time finding these at retail for any kind of reasonable price. So I suspect that Nintendo might be working on something to fill the tremendous demand, I think, for portable docks. So I'm sure we'll see something in the next couple of months. But if you can't wait and you've got an extra dock kicking around, this seems to be a really good solution here, minus all the dust on my screen, that will get you that docking functionality again in a travel-ready size and form factor. So that's going to do it here for this look at this DIY Switch docking kit. About $14 plus your original Switch dock, and you're good to go. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. All right. I can live with that. So we're done with the video. Good stuff. All right, I'll take a few more questions here, and then I've got to call it quits. Hape Toys on the Amazon stream says the dock looks pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's what's nice about this, again, it's not that expensive. It was relatively easy to do. You do want to have your own screwdriver here for that last part with the USB-C connector, but yeah, I mean, there's no risk here if you got it connected properly. So that is that. Let's see here. So let's see. Everybody wants me to come visit them. So Ronaldo, good night. Alex wants me to meet in Moscow. If I'm ever out there, I'll certainly do a meetup in Moscow. My wife actually did when she was in college back in the late 90s, she did a semester in Moscow. So she speaks a little bit of Russian. Russian's not good these days because she hasn't spoken it in a while. I would love to come to Seattle, Retro Junkie. One day we'll make that happen. I can go visit Amazon and Microsoft. I'd love to do a collab with Metal Jesus, who lives out there. Alex wants to know where to buy the mini dock kit. If you go into the description here on the live stream, it'll take you right over to Amazon where I got it. 14 bucks. Bill might skip and get a light. You know, one video I'm going to do is how to manage a multi-user Switch household with multiple switches. So I got my wife a Switch Lite for her and kind of for the 6-year-old, and it's been not a nightmare, but the digital rights management is a bit draconian. Let's put it that way. So here's what I'm accustomed to, because I have a PC and I have Game Pass and Steam and all that. So on the PC, you can't play the same game, at least with Steam, on 2 different computers at the same time. It kind of locks you out of that game. But you can play other games, right? So not a big deal. On the Switch, my wife plays only retro NES games. So I put I have her log in as me on her Switch. It's a long story how this works, but I have her log in as me on her Switch, and then she can use my Nintendo Network account to run the NES games. Now, if I run any digital game on my Switch, her Switch Lite will not let her play anymore. It just locks her out. So the workaround, this is crazy, but the workaround is you load the game up and put it into airplane mode, and then it's fine. So it's just like, what? I mean, I can understand if it didn't want me in the same game that she was in, but to go through that amount of draconian DRM is kind of nuts. So I'm going to do a video on the Switch Lite, and I'm going to talk about like how do you manage this, because I think I would suggest probably the best option if you are looking to get a Switch Lite and use it with members of your family is to get probably the family network account and then just buy physical games, because the managing everything is going to be a nightmare. Because if you can't have multiple users on the other Switches that are using your digital games. It's very poorly implemented right now. So hopefully they will fix that. Chris J, no, it won't work on the Lite. As far as I know, they have like completely eliminated any way of getting video output on the Lite. So this is just for taking the original Switch dock's guts and putting them into a smaller case. So what we did with this thing is we just bought we essentially bought a piece of plastic that fits the motherboard. That's what we bought, and a couple of screws. But it's you could 3D print one, I'm sure, but it's easier just to buy this. I would be honestly, I bet you what these folks probably did is they maybe just found the design online and just molded it. That's it. So that is it. Aaron Johnson says it'd be cool to have a CES live stream. We're going to try to do one, but the problem there is bandwidth. So I'll do some kind of an announcement. If you're on I would say the best way to get notified would be to sign up for my email blast, because we'll probably do the live stream only on Amazon if we do it. And I can only stream out to one thing at a time from my phone. And so I would do that. And what I would also do is if you go on my Amazon page, I think it's Lon.TV/Amazon shop. You can follow me there, and I think it'll notify you through Amazon if I go live. Bryant Mitchell wants to know, if you disconnect the HDMI cable, can you play docked? That is a good question. Why don't we look at that? Let's do that real quick. That might be a little add-on to do. So let's disconnect the HDMI and plug it into the dock. So we still have power going in. And let's see what happens. Does not look like it. Let me turn it on. All right, so we've got Smash Brothers running here. And now if I dock it, let's see. Nope. Cannot be done. So I think, yeah, you're out of luck there. So unfortunately, this would actually work well as a little stand-up dock, wouldn't it? I think they have charging docks that will do that, though. Let's make sure it's charging again here. Oh, yeah, I have the power connected. Let's see. So make sure it's still charging. Usually puts up that little charging thing in the corner. Let me turn it off and just connect it up again here. So I make sure I I'm sure it's fine. The ribbon cable can't move here. Yeah, it's charging. So, okay. So that's a good question, Brian. Thank you for asking that, because that would have been something that people would have asked in the comment stream on the video. Hussein's talking about the Joy-Con drift. Yeah, I have not experienced that with mine, but it's something that a lot of people have experienced, and I think they've done like a repair on that issue. I use my Switch a lot, but apparently not as much as a lot of other people, because I have not experienced that myself. Would you be able to modify other electronics like an electric grill, air fryer? You do not want me, a generic username asked that question. You do not want me modifying anything, because I will break it. Smoke Monster, if he's still around, can do some of that. He's good at recapping stuff. Yeah, so you can plug the charger directly, as Alexi points out, except the problem there is, and you have to do is get like some kind of T connector, because they put the connector at the bottom. So if you've got the power connected directly, which I do now, you can't use the stand because the connector's in the way, right? So that's the hard thing. So they do sell on Amazon. You'll see these charging docks, which will do that, which they'll just charge the Switch and put it in and have it in handheld mode. So that's something you could definitely do. I'm sure you could make one too, make a little stand for it or something. Hussein says, do I have a shop at Amazon? No, I don't have a shop at Amazon. It's the affiliate program, the influencer affiliate program. So I have lists of things that I've reviewed on there, and I think all of my reviews are on there too. Dan wants to know my Xbox One X. How's it working out so far? Well, I have not had a chance to play with it yet. So I did that unboxing video. So that video I shot just before Christmas, and then I went away the day after Christmas and got back yesterday. So I haven't had a chance to play with it yet. So it's still sitting over there in the box. I might plug it in tonight after the kids go to bed. So I will probably do that. And if I'm feeling up to it, maybe I'll do a little live stream with that. I'm not sure I'm going to. There's a lot of stuff to set up to make that work. So I don't suppose the OS has a setting. This is Jeff Jones asking. Has a setting to mirror the display or switch to a dock when plugged in. No, it doesn't have a display mirroring option. That would be really cool if it did have that. I bet you they could probably implement that. And actually, no, probably not, because when you are on the screen, it actually runs at a lower resolution. It goes to 720p. So I don't know if they would be able to scale it from 1080 on the big display. So when it docks, it goes to 1080. I don't know if they could scale down to 720p without a performance hit. Let's see, a couple more questions here. Kevin Rothicker says Hori sells the official charging dock stands. Yeah, Hori's got a lot of good accessories for this thing. And one of the things, so this is a Hori D-pad here on the side, this little Joy-Con add-on. I did a review of this. You can check it out on my channel. And what I like about it is that it feels almost feels like, especially the thumbstick here, identical to the Switch Joy-Con. There's no rumble motor, there's no motion controls in there, but the other one here has all that. So when you're playing a game, you don't need any of those things, and it's been fine. I use this almost exclusively now on my Switch because I play Tetris 99 a lot, and the D-pad has been great on it. So it's good. The only thing I don't like is that the shoulder button feels different than the official one. So it's got a little bit more travel to it, so it feels different, and the minus button here doesn't feel great. But the rest of it is, the thumbstick is a dead-on replication of the Joy-Con. It doesn't work wirelessly, though, so it only works when it's docked. And they were having issues with these initially with battery drain, but I haven't had any problems with it. So it's been great, and it's like $20. Hussein wants to know my Instagram account. It's Lon.TV. I don't do much with Instagram. I probably should start doing more with it. And you know what's funny? It's a tech with Sean. Matt Green says, did it work? Yes, it worked. No smoke. Everything worked fine. So we're good. So I'm actually very pleased with it because it should work, provided I didn't screw something up. But yeah, it's been fine. It's been perfect. So I'm really, really pleased. It's good. Tech with Sean sold his Switch because he wasn't using it. And you know what's funny? I'm the opposite. So I have been So I played the you-know-what out of my Xbox 360, and I was excited to get the Xbox One, and then I was getting into PC gaming around that same time, and I didn't really do much with the Xbox. I play with this a lot. In fact, I've bought games that I already owned on Steam because I could get them portable on the Switch. And what I found for me, given that I'm a dad and I don't have all the time to just go disappear somewhere and play games for a long time, I can pick this thing up and play a little bit and then run back and deal with whatever family issues popped up. So Dusty Porter just made the same point. When you have kids, the Switch is the way to go, and that is it. I would love for them to figure out a way to make a more powerful Switch. That would definitely be something to consider. Dusty, by the way, has a great podcast. You should check him out if you're looking to get into YouTube. I've been on this podcast 2 or 3 times now, so thanks for stopping by, Dusty. So NVIDIA Shield games. It's possible you can't play an NVIDIA Shield game on the Switch, as Alexi points out, but it shouldn't be hard to port them because this is a portable NVIDIA Shield. It is the same SoC, and that the NVIDIA Shield is mostly the SoC, so no reason why it shouldn't work. And what they're using the Shield for in China is to port Nintendo games into the Chinese market because they can't buy these consoles there. So there's a lot of GameCube conversions that are running on the Shield, and it's killing me we don't have these yet, because I would love like a library of some of my favorite GameCube games. So yes, Dusty, I would love to come back on again. After CES, let's do it. I'm happy to come on your show. Traveling Tech Guy says, were you in the Marines? No, I was not. Never been in the military, but this hairstyle works for me. I just got a haircut today, so that's why I'm looking a little shorter than usual. So I used to have a flat top, so I looked even more like a military person at that point, but I have changed the do a little bit. But no, I have not served. I serve my community, though, in other ways. I'm on the Board of Ed, been on for 17 years. So I do a lot of time for the local schools and stuff, but never served in the military. All right. Well, I am going to close up the stream here. I want to thank you all for tuning in. It's been a fun little project to get this going. I ordered this when I was on my vacation, and it was waiting for me when I got home, so I was eager to dive into this perfect live stream topic. Hopefully it will be a decent recorded video. We'll have to see how it comes together. So that is it. I'm going to go feed the family, feed myself, and hopefully CES I'll burn off the 3 pounds I gained. I gained 3 pounds. I try to stay at like the same weight, and I have like a 1 or 2 pound fluctuation up or down, but now I'm up 3. So we gotta stop. Gotta stop. So I've started today just holding back a little bit, What's interesting, so I was in Florida. Before I close out here. When I was in Florida, Florida is like flat. So I went out for walks and stuff like I do here, but I wasn't getting my heart rate up because there's no hills. So where I live, I walk half the distance, but get twice the workout because it's, really, I got these huge hills in my neighborhood. So I exercised a little bit in Florida, but I was eating more than I should have. So I gotta drop those 3 pounds. So I think that's the CES will totally do that for me. So yeah, because I used to be about, so I'm about at the moment I am not 150, but I'm usually about 150, 155. And I used to be like I had hit 190 at one point. And I just started like cutting out all the junk food and got really super diligent on the eating. So that was it. But I'm happy with this dock. So I'm going to go bring this upstairs to the OLED TV. That's where it's going to live. And then when we go on a trip, we can just pack it up and take it with us. Successful project. Nintendo guts. No risk. Even the connector's a Nintendo connector on this. So that's good. Yeah. So, if you're not afraid to take apart your dock, I think this is a good way to go, for sure. All right, everybody, I will be back. I'm going to be, we are going to have a wrap-up video on Monday. I just did the slideshow for that. So that's coming up, and that'll be on the air Monday. Monday night is our first CES event. So for the CES coverage, I would expect to start seeing stuff around Tuesday, the day the show starts, and then we'll have... I'm hoping to do at least 3 dispatch videos. So the plan for CES is that we've got PepCom on Monday night. So we're going to do that. Sunday night when we get in is CES Unveiled, which is a similar press event. But that one doesn't typically have stuff that's all that interesting. But who knows? So we're going to go to that. So we might have like a dispatch of CES Unveiled and PepCom for day 1. Day 2 is the Tuesday. We're going to do the show floor. We're going to go to Eureka Park, which is where all the startups are. So there's some really cool stuff there. One thing we're going to go see is this is crazy. This is an AI-driven mosquito detector. And what it does right now is that if it detects a mosquito, it puts a laser on it, so you know where it is so you can kill it. But I guess the future plan for this is that it will actually kill the mosquito with the laser. So we're going to check that out. That's going to be kind of fun. So we're going to see all that kind of stuff on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we're going to hit the show floor and just kind of see some of the bigger stuff that's there. So that's going to be the game plan. It's a really tough show to cover because it's just me. So it's hard to... You can't compete with CNET and The Verge and all these people that bring, a gazillion people down to cover the show. But I think so last year was like the best year for CES viewership I ever had, partly because the algorithm grabbed me and took me for a ride in a good way. So I'm going to basically repeat what I did last year. That's the game plan. We have a sponsor, so ARM, who's the holdings company behind the mobile chips on your phones. They are sponsoring us, so we're going to actually segment out the sponsored content. So we're going to have 2 or 3 standalone sponsored videos where we're going to look at an ARM-based AI solution from the floor. Those will be standalone, so those will probably go up in the morning, and then in the evening. Provided I don't get another sponsor between now and Sunday, we'll have the dispatches be sponsor-free. So it's just me at the show for those 3 dispatches. And then, again, we'll have 2 or 3 sponsored videos that will drop in the morning before the main one goes out. So that's how it's going to work. And Alexi Rivera here says, TechnoLast says, I need YouTube to take me for a ride. Yeah, sometimes they take you for a ride in the wrong direction, but... my advice to people is you just got to keep cranking out content, and if you find the right niche for you, it'll start to grow for you. And here's another thing: is that don't get discouraged by a video that doesn't do well. And I'll give you a great example. The HP Sprocket printer. Which is it prints out photos on these little sticky papers. And it's something that I knew my 98% male subscriber base would have very little interest in, but it's a product that women primarily buy. And it didn't do well with the subscribers as I anticipated. I think it was probably one of my least viewed videos of last year. This was in the 2018 cycle. But when Christmas came around that year, it went through the roof because everyone got this printer for Christmas and wanted to learn more about it, and they started searching, and what do you know? So that video, which did terribly on the original upload, turned out to be one of my top 10 earning videos of the year. So it's, if you do your SEO right and you get your titling correct, your videos can have a really long life to them. And it's been really interesting, too, to see the lifespan of some of these videos that I've done that I felt were not all that good or all that interesting. So prime example are some of these really low-cost printers, like the ones you can get for $90 here on Amazon. I've had some that have been evergreen for 4 or 5 years. And I'm like, why is that? Well, I guess what happens is that they have like a 1-year life cycle in the primary retail channel, and then they get into the secondary retail channel. So these printers that you buy for $90 in 2018 will still be sold the next 2 or 3 years, even though they have new models out, because whatever's out in the channel gets kind of put down into these secondary markets, and before you know it, people are buying this printer, or maybe 4 years after they buy it, it gets clogged up, and they're trying to find some solution to the printer getting clogged. And if you go on my printer reviews, you'll see people commenting, I'm never buying an X printer again. And if I counted up all those comments on each of the printer reviews that I've had, nobody's buying any printers anywhere because people just get really frustrated with their printers. So yeah, you got to just look for, don't get discouraged by low viewership, because if you have something that is going to be of interest or something people need from an information standpoint, the video will do well in the long run. So Oh, and Ricardo's asking about the Prime 6. No news on the Prime 6, and we are not going to see HD Home Run at CES. They're not going to be there this year because they just moved their headquarters. That reminds me, I need to make a point to mention that on the wrap-up. So they just moved their corporate headquarters, and they're not going to be at the show this year, so we're not going to have the interview with them right away. We're going to do one with them a little later in the year. So I might go out there just to check it out. So yes, I'm going to make sure people are aware of that when we go into it. But we might, and don't quote me because I have it planned, but I don't. There's logistics. But we might have an interview with Plex instead. So there'll be something to talk about there. One Man Show wants to know if I'm going to have an interview with anyone who is part of ARM's design team. That's a good question. Not in the works for CES, but it's something we might be able to do. And One Man, before I close out, if you can answer quickly, let me know what you would want to know from someone in ARM's design team, because that might be a fun, thing. Yeah, so that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, let me know real quick on that, because I gotta go here in a second. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the show. It's good. You know, it's exhausting. My biggest frustration with CES is that it's really hard to get around. So I stay at one of the official hotels because I can get the bus that can take me down there, which saves money. But once you're down there, you can't go. I mean, everything is so spread out, and there's essentially like 5 or 6 places that there's things being exhibited. So you have some companies that have a booth on the show floor, but many don't. They have these, they have suites where they do their exhibiting. And it's hard for me to go to these suites because everybody wants an appointment, and it could take you 3 hours sometimes to get from one place to the other. Part of it's trying to get there, and then once you get to the hotel, you got to find your way up to the right place. And these things are so cavernous, these casinos, it's impossible to navigate. So my first CES, I was making appointments left and right, and we were just scrambling, just trying to get to places. And the show runs from 10 to 6. So your window to find things to record for the video is that 10 to 6 window. That's it. So you've got to really make the most of the time. So I found that doing the dispatches is really the best way to go. So I make no appointments anymore. We have appointments for the sponsors for the sponsor, because we're going to meet with a few companies that are making ARM stuff. But that's it. That's the only, and Plex, those are the only 3 appointments I made. And that just takes a lot of pressure off, because when I was making appointments, I was like, I'm walking to this destination, or I'm in this cab trying to get there, and I'm missing the opportunity to make more content. And it was really causing anxiety, because you have a set window. And for me, I only have 2 days of the show to be there. So the show starts on Tuesday. I think it runs through the weekend. Maybe it runs to like Sunday. But every year I have a Board of Ed meeting on the Thursday. So I've got to be back for that Board of Ed meeting. So this year, thankfully, my plane is going to get me back to Connecticut at 4. And that gives me just enough time to come home, shower and change, and go to the meeting. So yeah, and then I'm taking Friday off. So that's it. Yeah, let me find out One Man Show. That's a good thing. Might be kind of fun to interview them. And now that we have some relationship there, it might be kind of a fun interview. It may not be at CES, but maybe we'll do it just as a video podcast kind of thing. Dan wants to know if the ARM processor within the recent Windows, I think they did optimize that chip for Windows specifically. The prior one was just a regular Snapdragon, but this new one I think was a little bit more thing there. Anthony Bianco says, never cared for the Las Vegas Convention Center for conferences. Yeah, it's huge and sprawling. The Sands Venetian's always better. And that's, so what they've got is they have the entire convention center is CES. Now, that convention center is so big, usually there's 2 or 3 or 4 big trade shows going on at once. This is just for them, so that's all there. And then across the street is the Sands Venetian, where there's a whole nother convention center. I mean, you could run a major trade show there on its own. That's over there. So all the smart home stuff is in that building. All the startups are in the basement there. Then you've got the Venetian, where everyone's got their suites and stuff. And the worst part is you'll be at the convention center and you can see the Sands across the street. Now in New York, you could just walk over there. But in Vegas, you can't get there. There's just no way to walk there. So you got to get on the bus and go over. So what I learned the hard way the first year is that we're going to do one day here and one day there, and that's it. So that's how we're doing it. Jeff Jones, I just mentioned, we're not going to have an interview with Silicon Dust this year because they just moved their headquarters from California to Arizona. And that move has been pretty involved, so they're not going to be at CES this year. But we will try to catch up with them a little later in the year. I don't have news on this Prime 6 yet, which I'm waiting for. I know everyone else is too. So hopefully we'll get some more info on that. All right, folks, I got to run. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, including some folks who watched on Amazon. Thank you all. I'm glad this worked. And it was done within the hour, so we didn't have like a whole big messy project to deal with. And yeah, I bet you Nintendo's going to make something this small. That's my 2020 prediction. So that is going to be it. All right. Yeah, a lot of folks are talking about being healthy there. Yeah, I am very much careful about the health situation. I bring a lot of hand sanitizer and washing hands constantly for sure. And I try to stay out of the heavy crowded areas. So yeah, you can't avoid it. You got people from all over the world coming into one place, and it's just par for the course. So, but hopefully we'll be okay. And I just need to be healthy enough to get through the show, and then I'll be good after that. And we'll see where we go from there. All right, everybody. I will talk to you in a little bit, and we'll be back again soon with a stream, hopefully from Vegas at CES. It may not be that good of a stream, but we'll give it a good college try and see how it goes. And until then, sayonara, and be on the lookout for a wrap-up video on Monday night. I've got another review that's due to land also probably on Saturday. Today's Friday, right? Yeah, so it'll be tomorrow. So stay tuned. 2 more videos at least in the works. Bye-bye for now. See you from Vegas.